Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to a Tall Girls podcast hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope everyone who's tuning in today is doing super fantastic. Before I get into this episode, I do want to say make sure you're following me on my socials at a Tall Girls podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest so that you can stay up to date on all of the latest podcast episodes and catch a glimpse of my everyday life. Also, feel free to leave me a review and let me know how tall you are. I'm genuinely curious. Everything is going to be linked in the description. Boy, has it been peaceful since graduation. I have been bored for the past week or so, past few days. And let me say bored in a good way, okay? Because on a weekly basis, I'm just so used to filling up my schedule from the second I wake up to the second I go to sleep. And usually once I wake up, there's always something I need to do. I need to either go to the gym, I need to start work, I need to clean, I need to cook, I need to do something in order to get through my entire day and go to sleep at least by like midnight or 1 a.m. to get like 6 or 7 hours of sleep to prepare for the next day. But now my days are nothing like how they used to be. And when I wake up, I can actually like lay in bed and stare at the ceiling. That's insane to me. And now my days just consist of going to the gym a few days a week, working, going to the park for a walk and to get some sunshine, coming back home to work, and that's pretty much it. And I'm here for it. That's why I'm saying bored in a good way. I don't feel like I'm gonna lose my mind because of all the things that I have to do throughout the day. It's just very, very calming. And I'm not gonna lie, this current schedule is a great way to save a bunch of money because I'm not going out as much, being tempted to buy food while I'm out, being tempted to buy stuff, especially because I go to school in the city. Well, I went to school in the city, and it's hard not to pass by a clothing shop or something and want to spend money on something there, or just pass by anything. I don't know. I just feel like anything in the city that you walk past is gonna tempt you to spend money on it. So having this current schedule is saving me a lot of money, and I'm here for it because I got this trip coming up in a few weeks and it's London. It's gonna be expensive, so I need to save as much money as possible. Just as an example, I bought tickets for something because, I feel like it's a little bit smarter to buy your tickets or buy as much as you can of the activities that you're going to do while you're there before you leave to kind of save you that money while you're there so you could just focus on buying food and potentially souvenirs. I bought a ticket for something the other day. It was like one of the attractions like the aquarium, the London Eye, and it cost me £68. And when you look at £68, like, oh, 68, oh, that's not that bad. The conversion rate got me. It was $87 US. I was like, ooh, that's a lot. But the website did say that it saved me about like 40 to 45% on my purchase. If I had bought it there, it probably would have been like twice that. So I'm not gonna complain about that. But yeah, after that purchase, we're gonna be going to the park a lot more to save money. And we'll see how that goes. Today, we are going to be talking about something that tall people often face: judgment. This kind of plays into the whole judging based on appearance type of thing. When people think about being judged based on their appearance, they more so think about the looks, I guess you could say. So how attractive your face is, how you dress, tattoos, piercing, things like that. However, there are other factors of your appearance that people use to actually like legitimately make a judgment about you, and height is one of them. So before I dive a little bit deeper into this, I do want to ask, have you ever been judged based on your height or physical appearance? Chances are the answer is yes. And today I'm going to discuss why people judge you based on your height and what you can do about it. As tall people, as tall women, I'm sure we've had our fair share of judgment. The looks and the stares, the sly comments, the stupid assumptions, the inappropriate questions. And it seems like it never stops. Don't get me wrong, some judgments, some assumptions, some questions, some comments are nice. Just as an example, I was at the bank opening a bank account, just doing adult things. And, we went through the process, started the account, whatever. I stood up to leave. The bank teller, I guess, stood up to wish me a goodbye or walk me out. I don't know. I just know that she stood up. And I remember she literally looked up at me and was like, "Oh, wow, are you a model?" And of course, I was flattered by that question, because when I tell you I looked like a bum that day, like hoodie, sweatpants, socks with sandals, hood on, very much looking tired because that was during the school semester. I was like, ooh, I mean, I know it's based on my height, but like it felt a little nice to get somewhat of a compliment like that. So that type of assumption, is obviously not the worst. I mean, kind of for the most part, I honestly believe being like associated with a model, being called a model is kind of a compliment. But then you have the random man at the grocery store asking me, "Oh, do you play college ball?" I mean, at least he guessed correctly that I was a college student at the time. So I was like, I don't. And he was like, "Why not?" And I said, "Oh, I mean, it's just not really an interest of mine at the moment. I'm interested in other types of hobbies. Like, I'm not really in sports right now." And then he was like, "You should play ball." And I'm like, even if I were interested, like, are you gonna pay for my lessons and the equipment? Like, what's the deal here? I don't know. And it's like, these things are small. Those types of things are small. Those types of questions, comments, whatever, assumptions are small, but let me tell you, they do add up over time. Like, I have a whole bank, like I have a literal storage unit of stuff up in my brain of all of the things that really just still annoy me to this day. But there is one specific group of people who is just really bad, like horrible, and that's old people. The number one enemy of tall people is older people. Not necessarily because they are more likely to judge us based on our height, because honestly, everyone is fair game in that realm, but they have the most courage to say exactly what they're thinking to our faces. Older people will have no shame in telling us that our height makes us look mannish. They'll have no shame in telling us that we're undateable because we're taller than most men out there. And they'll most definitely have no shame in reminding us of how out of place we are. I mean, the list really goes on and on, but why do people do that? Well, simply put, the most common reason is that we are bred to do so. Whether we mean it or not, this is kind of like an unconscious or subconscious act where we often judge people in order to determine whether or not we want to keep interacting with them. And usually we try to interact with people who are similar to us, both in appearance and in personality. So just as an example, when, especially this is a very prominent one, I guess you could say, something as simple as going for a job interview. People want people who quote unquote look professional. And there's apparently a certain type of professional look. That's why many people who are hiring tend to stay away from people with tattoos, So that's kind of an example of judging based on appearance. Oh, because you have tattoos, you're not going to fit into this workplace. Or sometimes they even say that we have clients who may not necessarily be into that. In that case, their clients are going to judge you based on your appearance. Just in society, it just really seems like we are bred to literally judge other people to determine whether or not we have them in our lives, whether it's professional or personal. And I guess you could say that kind of leads into the next one of societal expectations. Certain groups of people are apparently supposed to look or act a certain way. So as for us tall women, women are apparently supposed to be shorter, because that makes them look more feminine, more dainty, and more likable in the eyes of men, which is so dumb in my opinion, honestly. So because we're taller, which is tied with men and masculinity, we are often placed or seen as more aggressive or more dominant because of our height, simply because of our height. And I feel like, the same kind of goes for shorter men. And people tend to not really respect them as much simply because they're shorter, which is the qualities or the traits or the heights, I guess you could say, of a woman, or supposed to be the quality traits, height of a woman. It's honestly just so screwed up. Also, people judge because of insecurities. Yes, you heard me correctly, insecurities. They don't like you because they can't be you, which is honestly very sick and twisted. Everybody's unique in their own ways. Everybody's made the way they are for a reason. It's just best to really appreciate what you have, but some people just don't see it that way. And because they are not secure within themselves, for the most part, they don't like how they look, they will try to put you down so that they could feel a little bit better about themselves, if that makes sense. So it's like, if I'm going to hate on myself, I'm going to make you hate on yourself. And then they judge and make you feel bad about yourself and make you insecure. It's really messed up, let me tell you. And I think that kind of leads it to the first tip of just detaching yourself from that judgment, because especially with the insecurity part, it really is not personal to you. Like, don't take it personally, because a lot of what people say is a direct reflection of what they say to themselves, what they think to themselves. So if they tell you, oh my gosh, you're ugly, da 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 da, chances are they also think that they are ugly. And on top of that, I think that asking for clarification can be helpful. Oddly enough, asking questions can get people to admit certain things that are deeper than what they actually said to you in the first place, which kind of goes back to the first point of don't take it personally, because they are telling you what they think about themselves. They're just projecting that insecurity onto you. But I think that the asking for clarification part kind of works with people who are closer to you, like friends and family. Yes, friends and family can judge you, but I think it works for people who are closer to you, that you actually want to try to work on the relationship. Whereas with strangers, it's just like, don't waste your time. Don't waste your breath on that. Just ignore them, because in 3 days, you're not even going to remember that. Okay, let me stop, because I actually remember the man from the grocery store 2.5 years ago, but they're not going to remember you, I think. It's just not worth your time. You're probably never going to see that person again anyways. I just want to remind you that your height is not your identity. Your height does not define you. You define you. Your height is just a small piece of the pie. It's actually a crumb, in fact, if that even makes any sense. You know, I guess on this podcast once said that being tall is empowering, and I honestly agree with her 110%. Especially as a woman, it can unlock this new perspective and even this new level of power and independence in a way that's only unique to us. And if they want to hate on our height, then so be it. They're just mad because they're not us. And that's their problem, not ours. Period. Anyways, I think we're going to end the episode here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. As always, feel free to hit me up. All of my links for my socials are going to be in the description. And let me know what you thought about this episode. Have you received any judgment from other people because of your height, whether you're tall, short, average height? Are they harsh judgments? Are they good judgments? Like, let me know. I want to know. Or if you just want to talk about life, we could do that too. I'm down. My DMs are open, of course. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, week, month, year, life, whatever it is for you. And I'll catch you in the next one. Good night and goodbye.